Hey guys, welcome back to another week with Mac Outdoors, Mia and Lea. This week we'll be talking about gun cleaning and some awesome snacks to take in the field.
This summer, whether you're at the range or in the field, WSI Sports' Hypertech bamboo tanks, tees, and leggings will have you covered. Visit WSISports.com and use Leah's affiliate code, LLCO10 for 10% off your purchase. All products are proudly made in the USA. WSI is bringing back pride in American-made clothing. Again, that code is LLCO10 for 10% off your order at WSISports.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Mac Outdoors podcast, where a dynamic mother-daughter duo share their adventures, tips, and advice. I am Mia, and I'll be accompanied by the one and only daughter, Lea. It is time to get to outdoors, hunt, shoot, and spend time with family and friends. Let's get this show on the road. Hi guys, we're happy that you're here. We hope that you enjoy the show, and we hope that you'll be sure to subscribe before you go if you haven't already. Today, we wanted to talk to you about the importance of cleaning guns, and also Lea will give a few tips on how to do it, because Lea is very good at taking care of her firearms, and she can give a lot of good tips about that. I'm also, as we mentioned in a previous episode, getting ready to head out on my hunt. Leah's getting ready to head to school, and so we wanted to share some nutritious snacks for the trail with you.
Cleaning your gun is so important because a lot of the time, especially hunting in the field, you can get a lot of debris in your barrel just by carrying it on your shoulder. You can bump into trees, or if you set it down across a fence, you can sometimes get dirt in your barrel if you don't cover it properly, as they tell you in hunter safety to put your hat over the barrel, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. So that is one huge reason. And if you get debris in your barrel, it's going to possibly make your gun blow up if it blocks the whole thing from the bullet passing through. It's always super important to really keep it clean and safe as possible.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And Lea, our affiliate ad that we do in the middle with the Self-Defense Radio Network, Lloyd chimes in. I actually did a piece about muzzle brakes recently on there for one of my tips, because my new rifle has a muzzle brake on that. And muzzle brakes can really collect pine needles and dirt and debris. So you definitely want to make sure that you keep those clear and also clean them when you clean your gun. So one thing I was thinking of, when you really got into cleaning your gun, it was your shotgun. And that was because of competitions. And tell people, like with that shotgun, that was a semi-automatic. And what was going on when you realized that you were having to clean it regularly?
When I realized that the gun needed to be cleaned a lot more often was when it started to not cycle all the way. The shell would sometimes not come out all the way, or the other one, it wouldn't close all the way, and it was just so slow, and you could even feel it when you would shoot. And sometimes you can even hear it. It's not going as fast as it usually does. And so that's kind of your major sign of when it's time to clean your gun, is when it's not functioning as well as it should.
And that is so important, especially in competition, because do you only get 2 fouled shots and then you're out? Is that how that works?
It depends on the competition when you have foul shots. And sometimes in a competition, if it does it more than twice and you have a spare gun, you can do that. Or if you don't, you're disqualified. So it's always really good to be prepared with an extra gun, or just make sure yours is cleaned regularly.
And Lea also mentioned something that led me to kind of a side topic, but she talked about you can start to feel the action when it's getting dirty, that it doesn't cycle as hard or as fast. That's something when you're out at the range, if you're testing somebody's shotgun, or if you get to go to a range day with firearms companies and you get to test shotguns, feel that, because you can really tell the difference between a low quality shotgun and a high quality one by how smooth and how quick or hard that action cycles. So that's something else that keep an eye out if you're looking for a semi-automatic firearm.
One big thing that kind of goes into what we'll probably talk about next is with a semi-auto, you can shoot a lot of rounds through it, and sometimes it can be less rounds than your break action, and sometimes it can be more depending on what kind of bullet you're shooting and stuff like that, or shell, I guess. So I think that's a huge one too, is always to just see at the end of the day how much debris builds up from how much you shoot, because sometimes you may just shoot half a box, one box, or at a lot of competitions I shoot at, you'll be shooting 100 to 200 to sometimes 400 or 500 shells through your gun. So sometimes just after that, it's good to clean.
And you also need to remember to pull your choke out and clean that when you're cleaning your gun. So don't forget about the choke.
Yeah, the choke is super important, and it's always good even when you're shooting. I know it's not a cleaning tip, but always to make sure that that is tight in your gun, because a lot of the time, a lot of people will forget about it and it'll be halfway out, and that's just going to be a disaster if you shoot and that flies out with your shot. So always check your choke, and if you do change it, sometimes it's always good to grease them, wipe it on there, and it also keeps the barrel a lot more clean and keeps your choke in there better.
And we recently talked about AR style rifles, which are also semi-automatic, and you learned how to clean those several years ago with your Smith & Wesson, that M&P 22.
So as I've shared, we've been shooting it a lot lately, especially since it went to competition just a couple months ago. And I've actually learned a lot about this just through shooting it a lot more often than I have in a couple years. And it really does affect the bullets that you shoot, can really make a difference on how dirty your gun is. When you shoot a lot, you'll get little chips and debris in action of your rifle. So it's always really good to shoot and make sure it's at least wiped down before you put it away. And a lot of the times, especially with hunting rifles, you'll get everything dirty, as I said. So it's always good to at least give it a good wipe down. Nothing extensive by pulling everything apart, but just to make sure that there isn't anything in there that will make it rust or anything like that, which also goes for shotguns that go on duck hunts that we've also learned about.
Yeah, that's something that's really important if you're out, even at competitions. One shotgun we had was at a competition and somebody borrowed it, and we put it in the case and it had been wiped down, but there was moisture inside the barrel. So a good thing to do is you can either get Flambeau Outdoors has those Z-Rust package, which we're not sponsored by Flambeau, but they have given those to us to demo. And the Z-Rust, it oxidizes the air and it pulls the moisture out. So after you wipe down your gun, if there's, moisture in any cracks or crevices or crannies where you can't see, it'll help and pull that moisture away so that your gun doesn't rust in the case or in the safe. We actually have those in the safe, and there are safes that come with a lining that has a material similar to that. And there's also cases that come with a lining that will pull the moisture away. So that's really important.
And when you're cleaning a semi-auto or a rifle and you're doing an extensive clean on them, which I recommend doing, depending how much you shoot, once a month is what I would recommend, just because it's better to be safe than sorry if you don't clean it for a long time and something goes wrong. So it's always good to make sure your gun is in tip-top shape before you go to the range. One thing is always remember how you took it apart so you can put it back together the correct way, because I have had it happen to me where I forgot one little piece from my semi-auto, and that little piece was what made the gun cycle. And so, of course, we're on a duck hunt in Louisiana, not close to home, and I had to cycle it myself every time, which was worse than a pump action because I didn't know what was going on with it. So it's always really good to be in a clear space. Make sure you know how to take apart and put it together properly so you don't have that happen to you where you miss ducks.
That's for sure. That was really a bummer. And what she's talking about, a clear space, is make sure you have a table and put down a cleaning mat and put all the pieces on the mat, because what happened on that instance is somehow the piece that she needed got put into the cleaning kit, into the box. So when she was putting it back together, all the other parts are on the mat and that one wasn't. So she didn't realize that she missed it because it wasn't laying out there. And it wasn't, like when you put a shelf together or something like that and you have extra screws, she had no extra parts. So she didn't realize she was missing that part. So make sure that you clear the area, put the parts all out where you can visually see them before you start putting it back together. That's so important.
Yes, and there's always hundreds of videos on YouTube that can show you how to take apart your gun and put it back together, which I know I always have to revert to sometimes with new guns or even my 22 every now and then. If there's one piece, I just can't remember how it goes. So it never hurts to look it up just in case, because it's better to put it back together the correct way than think it's okay and something goes wrong.
And then after you put it back together, after you've cleaned it, make sure you shoot a couple of fouling shots to burn off the oil that might be inside the barrel and stuff like that before you go out hunting or competing. You want to make sure that you've got that cleared. The oil in the barrel actually will make a difference on the flight path of the projectiles. So make sure you do that before you head out to the important stuff.
After you're cleaned your gun and you're ready to go to the range, don't forget your safety rules and try to bring a friend when you go to the range, because we always love seeing new people out there and learning new things. We'll be right back after the break.
Hey, this is Lloyd Bailey, the Armed Lutheran, host of the Armed Lutheran Radio podcast, reminding you that the podcast you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. Check out all the great content at selfdefenseradio.net.
Welcome back. We hope that you all will be able to take care of your firearms. And right now, Leah's getting ready to head into trap shooting and competition season, but she's also, as we mentioned, heading back to college. And something she learned last fall the hard way was a little bit about nutrition. So I wanted to share some things with everybody, because nutrition doesn't just have to be for the trail. A lot of these things that we can take in our backpacks or on hikes, they can also be taken in your backpack at school. So Leah, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what happened, and then let us know some of the great things that you found that were nutritious and easy to take on the fly.
So, of course, in college, it's kind of a thing where you buy a lot of junk food because it's cheap and easy to make. I know I bought a lot of frozen food, and I didn't go eat at the cafeteria a lot because I didn't want to go out. And those foods really are not very healthy, as everyone knows. And so going from homemade meals all the time to eating frozen food and junk, I really got super sick and just never felt good. I felt like I passed out a couple times. I always just felt yucky, just kind of not normal feeling. And so I decided, or I at least figured out, I was like, I need to not eat junk food. I can have it every once in a while, but I need to have real meals and healthy meals. I threw out all my gross food that I had, and I started going to the cafeteria a lot. And our cafeteria, they had a lot of vegetarian sections, which had really good vegetables, so I added that. And what I would do is just get the meat of the day that they had as the main meal, and then I would go and get the vegetables from the vegetarian side, because I feel like they were cooked a lot better than the veggies they had with the meat in the other section. So I always tried to make my meals healthy: rice, chickens, veggies, stuff like that. And then when I would travel to rodeos, to shoots, to any other crazy adventures I went on, I would pack Cliff Bars and trail mix. I like the Sunkist trail mix that they have that has nuts and chocolate covered things in them, and freeze dried fruit and stuff like that. Those are super good and easy to pack.
Yeah, and I actually sent those to Lea because you kind of get, it's not just like eating oats. You know, a lot of times healthy snacks, you feel like, oh my God, like you're eating seeds, like some of those bars are just seeds and oats or something. And I know not everybody likes that, and I don't know very many people who do, but with those Sunkist snacks, there actually are no preservatives. There's no additives in there as far as sugars and bad things, but it also gives you a little bit of the sweet with the protein, and so you've got a pretty healthy snack that a college kid can eat. So that's why I sent that to her. And that's something that, look for stuff that you're going to eat and you're going to like, because what'll happen is if you do get those bars that you don't like, you're not going to eat it, and then you're going to bonk, and then you're going to reach for the Pop-Tarts, and the Pop-Tarts are going to make you bonk even worse. So they've got to be things that you actually enjoy and you want to have. So that's one of the things that we sent to Lea to try to help get her back on her healthy track.
Yes, and now that I'm in my own apartment and I am able to hunt again, I am in good health and I am focused on school, I can finally get my own wild game, which I love to eat. So that's always a healthy option to have, which I know many college kids can't do, but maybe their parents would be nice enough to send them some like mine are.
Yep. And I actually just made a batch of, it's called carne seca, which is dried meat or jerky. And I'll actually share the recipe on my website in next week or the week after. So keep an eye out for miaandstein.com for a recipe for that. But carne seca is something that Lea seems to really like, and we really like. It's a simple, easy way to make jerky, and it also doesn't have a lot of sugar in it. It's a good, flavorful way to make the meat. Lea likes hers sliced super thin and dried really crispy. Some people like thick pieces and whatnot. But the good thing about that is we let it cool, and then we put it in the seal a meal, and you can actually put that in the freezer and freeze it for like 3 to 6 months. And that's something that you can grab in the morning and throw in your backpack, and she can have that at school at lunchtime or on the trail. You can have it, and it's just enough, to get you through for a few days and stuff like that. So that's always a great snack. Hopefully I'll be sending Lea some pretty soon here.
Yes, it's always my favorite. Another great thing is right now or in next summer is all the fruits that are that have gotten ripe. And for example, we have apple trees at home, and I know I've seen many apple picking pictures, so that's always something cool to do. And to go on hikes is fill up a gallon-sized bag of huckleberries, raspberries, strawberries, all the wild foods that are out there, and you can make applesauce or anything like that you like, and that's always a healthy option too.
Yep, and you saying that actually made me think of your Nan and the fruit leather that she makes for you, because that's another really good snack. That does have a little sugar in it, so you have to kind of think of that as your treat and don't overdo it with the sugar so that you're not having a spike, but it's a great thing to add. And something with that is you can actually, I make my own trail mix. I don't buy trail mix a lot of times. I'll get the nuts that I like. I like the almonds and macadamia nuts and stuff like that. And so I'll get the nuts that I like, and I can get them either raw or with sea salt or no salt. And then I'll add in dried apricots or dried raspberries or cranberries, and that I can just put in my bag and take with me for a little snack too.
I know we are talking about a bunch of healthy snacks, but I know on a lot of our hunting trips, sometimes a good reward after hiking up that giant mountain, a lot of us pack the little bitty Twix bars or Snickers bars, or I know I like a Kit Kat or Crunch bar, but I know that's a big thing that a lot of people like. It's just something small as a reward, and sometimes the sugar is really helpful after you've gone through so much energy, but also to eat a healthy snack with it.
Yeah, and that actually, like you're saying, a good reward. The reward part is sometimes you're so tired, and just to give yourself that little boost of excitement, it makes you happy. And sometimes you just need that mentally to keep you going and stuff like that. So that is a really good point, Leah. I'm glad that you brought that up. Something else that we discovered, we went on a pack trip and took one of our friends that comes and stays with us every summer. And we went up to Emerald Lakes in Colorado, but we took Mountain House meals, freeze-dried meals, and something that we found freeze-dried ice cream bars and cheesecake and Neapolitan ice cream. And those, depending on what your taste buds are like, those can be your little pick-me-up too. And it's like having cheesecake when you're way up in the mountains and you can't have something refrigerated.
I thought the ice cream ones tasted like the marshmallows in Lucky Charms, which I guess depending on the feeling, they weren't too bad, but I sure did love those cheesecake bites.
So those are all great ideas, and hopefully you guys can tell us what ideas you have. What are some of the things that you make, and mostly healthy snacks? I mean, everybody can find a candy bar or, something unhealthy to carry, but what are you taking in your backpack when you travel in the field? Let us know.
Yes, we would love to hear any ideas you have for a college student or for our traveling pack. Can let us know at Mia and Lea _Huntress on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week, and we hope to hear some awesome ideas from all of you. We will see you next week.
Bye, guys. Have a great one.